20 years together, and now the entire love and hip-hop world is asking the same question. Are Yandy and Mendeecees finally done? In a shocking moment caught on camera, Mendeecees sat with Scrappy and Carly Red, and what he revealed has fans buzzing like never before. Imagine giving 2 decades of your life to someone, building a family, standing strong through prison time, public scandals, and endless drama only to hear the words, "I can't even say where we at right now." That's exactly what came out of Mendeecees' mouth, and Scrappy's face said it all. Carly leaned in, eyes wide, as if she couldn't believe what she was hearing. This wasn't just a slip of the tongue. This was a confession that cracked open the door to a storm of speculation. Are we watching the slow collapse of one of reality TV's most iconic couples? Or is this just another chapter in their never-ending saga of love, betrayal, and survival? Whatever the case, emotions are running high. Rumors are spreading like wildfire, and the entire hip-hop community is holding its breath. The atmosphere inside that lounge was deceptively calm at first. Scrappy had been laughing, talking about music and cracking little jokes that usually got everyone smiling. Carly Red was scrolling through her phone, pretending not to listen but in reality catching every single word that floated in the air. Then came the moment when Mendeecees walked in. He wasn't loud, he wasn't even trying to draw attention. But there was something in his walk, in his eyes, that immediately shifted the mood. He sat down across from them, his shoulders heavy, like he was carrying more than just the weight of the day. Scrappy, never one to dance around a subject, cut through the silence. "Yo, how you and Yandy doing?" he asked casually, but everyone in the room knew it wasn't just a throwaway question, it was the question. Mendeecees paused for a second, a small half-smile appearing on his face, the kind that hides more than it shows. "Been easy like, you know. That's been our conversation for a little minute," he said, his voice low but clear. "I know people try to figure out what we got going on, and they busting their brain. You know, it's been difficult, but we've been managing and we've been trying to figure things out. And honestly, I can't even say where we at right now." The silence that followed his words was heavier than anything else. Carly Red's hand froze mid-scroll, her eyes lifting slowly to meet his face. Scrappy leaned back, eyebrows raised, like he couldn't believe Mendeecees had just said that out loud. "Wait, what?" Carly's voice cracked a little, half in shock, half in excitement. She loved a good story, but even she wasn't prepared for this kind of confession. Mendeecees exhaled, resting his hands on his knees. "Listen, whatever it is, it's gonna be worked out. When you got 2 decades with someone, no matter what, your family. 2 decades. The words rang in the air like a bell. 20 years wasn't just a number. It was memories, battles, kids, late nights, court visits, endless drama, and countless reconciliations. It was a lifetime of sacrifices, both personal and public." Scrappy shook his head, leaning forward. "Bro, that's heavy. Like, 20 years. Man, folks dream of that kind of loyalty, that kind of history. And you saying you don't even know?" Mendeecees looked down, almost ashamed but too tired to fake anything. "People don't understand, Scrap. They think what they see on TV is the whole story. But behind closed doors, man, it's arguments, it's sleepless nights, it's stress over money, kids, who said what, who did what. The cameras don't catch that. They don't catch the weight of trying to hold a family together when the whole world waiting for you to fall apart." Carly leaned in, her sharp eyes glittering. "So, are y'all together or not? That's the real question." The pause that followed was deafening. He didn't answer, not directly. His silence spoke louder than any words could. Outside that room, fans were already losing their minds. The clip hit social media within minutes, and the reactions came fast. "Did you see how he dodged that question?" One fan posted, "He didn't even deny it." Another tweeted, attaching a gif of someone dramatically fainting. The online gossip machine went into overdrive, dissecting every blink, every sigh, every unfinished sentence. But inside, with Scrappy and Carly, the truth was raw. Mendeecees was tired. He was a man torn between love and frustration, between loyalty and the desire for peace. Scrappy tried to lighten the mood, but even he couldn't ignore the weight of the moment. "Look, man, I get it. Folks think this life is easy. But when you got kids, money on the line, your name in people's mouths, it's a war every day." Mendeecees nodded, his expression serious. "You right, people talk behind your back. They judge you. They spread rumors. I think most people don't see the power in holding your tongue. Everybody, your woman, your mama, your friends, even your kids, somebody can do something to push you. But if you don't hold it down, it all blows up." Scrappy tilted his head, So, what you saying? You been holding it down but Yandy hasn't? Mendeecees quickly shook his head. Nah, I ain't saying that. I'm saying it's hard. It's real hard. And sometimes, no matter how much you love someone, you feel like you can't breathe, like the walls are closing in. And then you ask yourself, is love enough? The rawness of his words hung in the air. Carly Red, ever the instigator, pressed further. So you saying there's no peace at home? Mendeecees leaned back, rubbing his hands together. I'm saying it's complicated. Folks think love alone keep you together, but it's work, it's sacrifice, it's patience. Sometimes it feels like one person giving more than the other. Sometimes it feels like the love get lost in the chaos. The honesty in his tone left both Scrappy and Carly speechless. Scrappy finally broke the silence. Man, that's deep. Folks gone talk about this. And talk they did. The internet blew up. Fans who had supported Yandy through her years of holding the family down were furious at the idea that Mendeecees could even sound unsure. Others defended him, saying he had the right to feel the pressure, the exhaustion. The divide only fueled the fire. In that moment, sitting across from his friends, Mendeecees looked less like a reality TV star and more like a man at a crossroads. The weight of 20 years pressed down on him. The eyes of the world waiting to see which way he'd go. Scrappy finally sighed, shaking his head. All I know, bro, is you better figure it out. 'Cause y'all ain't just a couple. Y'all history. Y'all a whole movement. If it fall apart, everybody gone. Feel it. Carly nodded, her voice softer this time. Fans love y'all. They believe in y'all. But if you saying you don't know, that's a storm waiting to happen. Mendeecees closed his eyes for a second, the conflict written all over his face. Yeah, he whispered. It's a storm already. The storm that Mendeecees whispered about was not just in his heart. It was spilling out into every corner of his world. By the time that clip of him sitting with Scrappy and Carly Red hit the internet, the comments section was a battlefield. Fans who had once called him and Yandy the power couple of love and hip-hop were suddenly split down the middle. Some argued that 20 years together meant they could weather anything, while others insisted his words were the clearest sign yet that the relationship was over. Inside the lounge, though, the conversation hadn't stopped. Scrappy leaned closer, lowering his voice like the cameras weren't there. Like the microphones weren't already catching every sound. So what's really good, bro? Like, behind all that vague talk, what's the real? Mendeecees ran his hand across his chin, his eyes narrowing. The real is, it's been fights. Little arguments that turn big. Disagreements that never really get solved. One day it's about the kids, the next it's about money. Then it's about trust. And when you pile it all up, you look around and wonder, how much more can we take? Carly Red, always sharp when she smelled a story, leaned forward with a sly grin. So you saying y'all been fighting about trust? Trust is a dangerous word, Mendeecees. It only take one little crack for the whole thing to fall apart. Her words cut deep. Not just for him but for everyone listening. Scrappy gave her a side eye like he wanted her to chill, but she just shrugged, unapologetic. Look, Mendeecees replied, his voice harder now. Yandy been holding it down for a long time. I'll never take that from her. She a rider. She stood by me when I was locked up. She stood by me when I was locked up. When people told her to move on. But that don't mean everything perfect. That don't mean we ain't human. Sometimes loyalty don't fix the pain. The honesty in his tone made Scrappy shift in his seat. Damn, man. You know fans gon' lose their minds over this. They already are. Carly muttered, checking her phone again. Sure enough, the notifications were blowing up. Blogs had already picked up the conversation. Headlines flashing across gossip sites. Mendeecees unsure about future with Yandy and his love and hip-hop's power couple finished. And that was just the beginning. By the time the night ended, rumors started stacking like dominoes. People claimed Yandy had been spotted alone at events. Others swore they'd seen Mendeecees hanging with people he shouldn't have been around. The truth didn't matter, what mattered was the story. And the story was fire. Back at the table, Scrappy decided to stir the pot in his own way. So, let me ask you this. If you had to choose right now, stay and fight, or walk away, what would you do? Mendeecees froze. The question was direct, almost cruel, but it was the kind of moment that defined reality television. Carly's eyes lit up like a camera flash, waiting for his answer. He finally spoke, each word dragging like it hurt to say. I don't even know. Bro, that's the problem. I don't know. Scrappy let out a low whistle. Man, that's real. That's the kind of honesty that scare people. 'Cause when you don't know, anything can happen. The weight of uncertainty hung in the room, pulling everyone into silence. Carly, sensing the moment, added, "You know, 20 years is a long time to carry love and pain together. But sometimes, the longer you hold on, the harder it is to let go. Maybe that's what's eating at you." Mendeecees stared at her, his jaw tight, but he didn't deny it. Meanwhile, fans online began piecing together old clips, old interviews, moments where Yandy had spoken about sacrifice, about holding things together when she felt alone. They replayed those moments now with a new lens, convinced that the cracks had always been there, just hidden under the surface. Back in New York, Yandy herself was quiet. No immediate response, no statement. Her silence only made the speculation louder. Bloggers claimed she was devastated. Insiders whispered she was furious. Some even suggested she was already planning her exit. Whether any of it was true didn't matter. The audience was hooked. And the drama was spilling across every timeline. Scrappy, trying to ease the tension, chuckled nervously. "Look, man, whatever it is, I hope y'all figure it out. 'Cause if y'all split, it's gonna break a lot of hearts." "Hearts already breaking," Mendeecees muttered. Barely audible. Those words echoed, both in that room and across the internet once they aired. Hearts already breaking. It was the kind of line that could headline a blog post. The kind of line that could trend on Twitter. The kind of line that made fans clutch their chests and wonder if the fairy tale was ending before their eyes. Carly, never satisfied, leaned in again. "So what happens next? Are you gonna sit down with her? Talk it out, or are y'all just drifting until somebody walks away?" Mendeecees rubbed his temples, his frustration boiling. "We talk, we argue, we try, but sometimes it feel like talking ain't enough. Sometimes it feel like the love get lost in the noise." His voice cracked slightly, betraying the weight he carried. Scrappy shook his head, looking at him with a rare seriousness. "Bro, that's tough. But you know this ain't just y'all business anymore. The fans, the family, the whole love and hip-hop world, they invested in y'all. You can't just disappear." "Maybe that's the problem," Mendeecees replied bitterly. "Too many people in our business. Too many eyes watching. Sometimes I wonder if we ever had a chance to just be us, without everybody waiting for us to fail." His confession hit hard. Even Carly softened, for once without a snarky comeback. As the night went on, the conversation shifted from casual gossip to something deeper, something heavier. Mendeecees wasn't just talking about a relationship in trouble. He was talking about the crushing weight of expectation, the way fame twisted love into something fragile. Scrappy and Carly listened, and for once, neither of them had a joke ready. By the end of the night though, one thing was clear: this wasn't going to blow over quietly. Fans were already demanding answers. Blogs were speculating wildly. And the love story that had defined love and hip-hop for years was hanging by a thread. And if that thread snapped, the fallout would be explosive. The days that followed were nothing short of chaos. Blogs, gossip pages, and fan forums turned into battle zones. One side argued that Mendeecees was simply overwhelmed, that 20 years of love couldn't just dissolve with one cryptic conversation. The other side insisted his silence was proof that the relationship was hanging by a thread, ready to snap at any second. Meanwhile, Scrappy and Carly Red became accidental messengers of the storm. Everywhere they went, people asked the same thing. Did he really say that? Was he serious? Is it over for him and Yandy? Scrappy laughed it off most of the time, but deep down he knew what he had witnessed wasn't just casual talk. There was a heaviness in Mendeecees' voice, a raw truth that couldn't be ignored. Carlie, on the other hand, thrived in the attention. She replayed the scene for anyone who asked, dramatizing every pause, every sigh, every look on his face. She didn't lie, but she knew how to turn up the volume on a story. And that's exactly what she did. The spotlight inevitably swung back to Yandy. Fans swarmed her social media pages, demanding answers. Every photo she posted was flooded with comments like, "Queen, are you okay?" and "Say it ain't so. We can't lose y'all." When she remained silent, the speculation only grew. Silence was its own statement, and people interpreted it in 100 different ways. Behind closed doors, though, the tension between her and Mendeecees was reaching a boiling point. Those who knew them said the arguments had gotten louder, the silences longer. One insider whispered that Yandy felt blindsided by his public confession. "She's furious," the insider claimed. "She feels like he put their private struggles out there for the world to pick apart. And now she's the one left to clean up the mess." If that was true, it only added gasoline to the fire. Meanwhile, Mendeecees tried to explain himself to friends, insisting he wasn't trying to shame Yandy or paint her in a bad light. "I was just being real," he told one confidant. "I wasn't gonna sit there and lie like everything's perfect, 'cause it's not. But that don't mean I don't love her." but the damage was done. Once words are spoken, they can't be taken back, especially not when the whole world is watching. The fans weren't the only ones reacting. Family members started weighing in. Cousins, siblings, even distant relatives had opinions, and some of them weren't shy about sharing them online. One family member hinted that the problems between Mendeecees and Yandy had been going on longer than anyone realized. "Y'all just finding out," they wrote on Facebook. "But trust me, this ain't new." The comment was deleted within hours, but screenshots had already spread like wildfire. Scrappy found himself caught in the middle of it all. When he saw Mendeecees again, he didn't waste time. "Bro, you know you opened Pandora's box, right? Like, you can't just drop bombs like that and expect folks to chill." Mendeecees rubbed his forehead, frustration clear on his face. "I ain't mean for it to blow up like this. I was just talking, just being honest." "Honest gonna get you in trouble," Scrappy replied, shaking his head. "Sometimes folks don't want honesty, they want the fairy tale." Those words hit hard. The fairy tale had been the selling point of Yandy and Mendeecees' story for years. The loyal wife, the devoted husband, the family that stayed strong through everything. It was inspirational, aspirational even, but now, that fairy tale looked more like a fragile glass ready to shatter. Carly, never one to miss an opportunity, chimed in. "Look, honesty is good, but when honesty turns into headlines, you gotta deal with the fallout. And right now, the fallout is crazy. Fans don't just want the truth, they want answers. Are y'all done or not?" Mendeecees shook his head again. "That's the thing, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out, but everybody out here got an opinion, and it's making it worse. Sometimes I feel like we can't even hear each other over the noise." Scrappy leaned forward, his tone more serious than usual. "Then you gotta shut the noise out. Man, figure it out with her, not with us, not with the cameras. 'Cause if you don't, this thing gone, eat y'all alive." Mendeecees didn't respond right away. Instead, he stared off into the distance, his expression torn between guilt and exhaustion. Meanwhile, Yandy finally broke her silence in the most subtle way possible. She posted a photo of herself with no caption, just a simple heart emoji. The internet exploded. Some saw it as a sign of hope, others as a quiet plea for strength. Every interpretation only fueled the drama further. In the middle of it all, fans started digging up old storylines from the show. Moments when Mendeecees had questioned Yandy's decisions, or when she had called him out for not stepping up. Those clips resurfaced with new meaning, each one treated like a clue in a mystery people were desperate to solve. The truth, though, was far messier than any neatly edited storyline. Behind the scenes, the arguments were raw, the tears real, and the uncertainty suffocating. 20 years of love had given them a bond most people could only dream of. But it had also given them scars that ran deep. Scrappy tried once again to ease the tension with humor. "Man, y'all need a vacation. Lock the phones away. Get off social media. Just breathe." Mendeecees chuckled, but it was hollow. "A vacation don't fix what's broke on the inside." Those words, once again, became a headline. Blogs ran with it, fans debated it, and the storm only grew stronger. Through it all, Carly kept stirring. "You know what? Maybe Yandy need to come sit down with us. Let's hear her side. People want both sides, not just yours." Mendeecees groaned, burying his face in his hands. "Lord, that's the last thing we need. Y'all know how she get. She don't play when it comes to her name. If she sit down here, it ain't gonna be no calm conversation." Scrappy laughed nervously. "And that right there is why folks love this show. Drama, drama, drama." But even he knew this wasn't just entertainment anymore. This was real life, with real people, real children, and real consequences. Still, the cameras rolled, the blogs posted, and the fans kept talking. Because once the cracks in a fairy tale start showing, everybody wants to see if it's gonna collapse completely or somehow, miraculously, be put back together. And with every passing day, it seemed less and less likely that things would ever go back to the way they were. The storm only grew louder as days turned into weeks. Gossip blogs ran 24-hour updates. Fans created their own theories. And every little move Yandy or Mendeecees made was dissected like it was evidence in a trial. When Yandy skipped a public event she was expected to attend, rumors spread that she was avoiding questions. When Mendeecees was seen out with friends, people claimed it was a sign he had already moved on. In reality, neither was true. But perception had already become reality in the eyes of the audience. Scrappy tried to reach out to both sides, playing the middleman like he always did. "Look," he told Mendeecees one night, "you gotta talk to her in a way the cameras don't see. 'Cause right now, everybody else talking for y'all." Mendeecees sighed deeply. Exhaustion etched into his face. "You think I ain't tried? It's like every conversation turn into a war. I say one thing, she'll hear another. She'll bring up the past. I try to move forward. Then we stuck in circles. 20 years. Man, and we still can't figure out how to talk without tearing each other down." Scrappy nodded slowly. "That's love and war, bro. But the war part, eating y'all alive." Carly read, never one to let emotions soften her edge. Cut in sharply. "Or maybe it's not just communication. Maybe it's trust. Once that's cracked, no matter how much love you got, it's never the same." Her words lingered in the air. Even Scrappy didn't argue. Meanwhile, Yandy was finally preparing to speak. A close friend revealed she had been watching the headlines pile up, reading the comments, hearing the whispers. She wasn't ready to go public with every detail, but she knew her silence couldn't last forever. Fans were begging for her side, and Yandy had never been one to let others control her narrative. When she finally appeared on social media live, the energy was electric. Thousands tuned in within seconds, hearts racing, fingers typing furious comments. "Tell us the truth, Queen," one fan begged. "Don't let them spin it." Yandy looked calm, but her eyes told another story. "I've seen the blogs. I've seen the comments. I know everybody got something to say about me and Mendeecees, but let me make one thing clear. Nobody outside our house knows the full story. We've been through ups, downs, and everything in between. I'm not gonna sit here and bash my husband, because at the end of the day, that's my family. But I will say this, marriage ain't easy, and sometimes the people you think are the strongest are the ones struggling the most." Her words hit like thunder. Fans flooded the chat with crying emojis, heart emojis, and endless speculation. Some felt hope, others heard finality. When Scrappy and Carly later brought her live video up to Mendeecees, his reaction was complicated. He listened quietly, nodding slowly, but when it ended, he whispered, "She right, but I don't know if that means we fixing it or just admitting it's broken." Scrappy slapped his shoulder. "Don't give up, bro. 20 years don't just disappear overnight. Sometimes it feel like it already has." Mendeecees replied softly, and just like that, another wave of headlines hit. Mendeecees admits marriage may already be over. Fans who had been rooting for reconciliation now feared the worst. Inside their circle of friends, the divide was growing. Some rallied behind Yandy, praising her strength and loyalty. Others defended Mendeecees, saying he was just being brutally honest about the toll fame and pressure had taken. The split wasn't just in the fanbase, it was in the family itself. Cousins picked sides. Siblings stopped talking. Even close friends started choosing where their loyalty lay. One family dinner reportedly ended in shouting, with relatives accusing Mendeecees of disrespecting Yandy by airing their struggles. "You made her look weak," one cousin snapped. "You don't do that to a woman who held you down when nobody else did." Mendeecees fired back. "And what about me? What about my pain? Everybody act like I ain't human, like I don't get tired. She's strong, yeah, but I've been carrying my own weight too. Don't act like I'm the villain just because I said the truth." The argument got so heated the dinner broke up early, leaving the family more divided than before. As the weeks rolled on, producers behind the scenes of Love and Hip Hop knew they had struck gold. This storyline was bigger than anything they could script. Fans were glued to the drama, waiting for the next development like it was the final season of their favorite show. But for Mendeecees and Yandy, it wasn't just a storyline, it was their life unraveling in real time. Scrappy, watching the chaos unfold, shook his head one evening while talking to Carly. "Man, this ain't even fun no more. This real life, real pain. Sometimes I feel like we part of the problem." Carly shrugged, unapologetic. "It's TV. Scrap, pain sells. Love sells. Heartbreak sells. We all know that." Her bluntness wasn't wrong. The more dramatic the situation got, the higher the ratings soared. Fans couldn't look away, even as they claimed to be heartbroken by the idea of the couple falling apart. Mendeecees and Yandy eventually sat down together, away from the cameras, in a desperate attempt to salvage what was left. The conversation was raw, filled with tears and raised voices. "You made me look like a fool," Yandy cried, her voice breaking. 20 years I've given you. 20 years of loyalty, of sacrifice. and you sit with them and say you don't even know if we're together. Do you know what that did to me? To our kids? Mendeecees shot back, his voice shaking. And what about me, Yandy? You act like I ain't struggling, too. I was honest, maybe too honest, but I'm tired of pretending everything perfect when it's not. You want me to lie, to smile for the cameras while we tearing each other apart at home. Smile for the cameras while we tearing each other apart at home. The fight went on for hours, neither willing to back down. By the end, they were both exhausted, drained, sitting in silence as the weight of their words hung between them, outside their walls. The world kept watching, waiting for an answer. Together or not, broken or still fighting, the truth was complicated, messy and painful. What everyone did know was this: no matter what happened next, the legacy of Yandy and Mendeecees was forever changed. The fairy tale had cracked, the perfect picture shattered, and whether they picked up the pieces or let them fall, fans would never forget the moment Mendeecees admitted he didn't even know where they stood. Scrappy later summed it up best in a private conversation. Man, sometimes love ain't a straight line. Sometimes it's circles, sometimes it's storms. But whatever happened with them two, it's gonna shake everybody. And shake everybody it did, as the dust settles. One thing is clear, this story is far from over. 20 years of love, loyalty, and survival cannot simply vanish with a single conversation. But the cracks are undeniable. Fans have watched Yandy and Mendeecees fight battles no one else could imagine, and now they're left questioning whether this is the beginning of the end, or just another storm they'll weather together. The uncertainty is what makes this moment so powerful. Emotions ran high, words were spoken that can't be taken back, and the silence that follows is louder than any argument. The family is divided, the fans are restless, and the love and hip-hop world is buzzing louder than ever. What happens next is anyone's guess. Will Yandy and Mendeecees find a way to heal? Or will the weight of 2 decades finally pull them apart for good? But one thing is certain: whatever happens, it's going to change the story forever. And we'll be right here, watching every twist, every tear, and every shocking reveal as it unfolds. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Are Yandy and Mendeecees strong enough to survive this storm? Or is this truly the end of their journey together? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because your opinion matters more than ever. And if you want to stay updated with every twist, every headline, and every explosive moment, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. Because when it comes to love and hip-hop, the drama never sleeps, and neither do we.